AVoIPoE. I'm here at the Peerless event with Steve Coggles at Plexus AV. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing very well, thank you. You?
Very well, thank you. We're here again, and every year you've got something new, but what's important is that whole evolution of Plexus and literally from nowhere to where you are today. Can you give us a brief overview of that journey, how hard it's been?
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. That's a good way to put it. We've started with nothing essentially, right? And created a plan of we want to go and do AVoIP solutions, but we want to do them based on a standard, and then that gives some a lot of things that are good, but also some challenges that kind of come from that. Because when we jumped on IPMX as the real open standard, there was still a lot of unknowns and some challenges. So it took a little longer than what we hoped for, but since middle of last year, we've been shipping our products, so we've been doing installations, so it's been going very well for us actually.
And you've got something new to show us as well, because this is something that we discussed at previous shows, is almost like this bridging solution. And it's kind of touching on that bridging stuff because you're able to take a feed in. Give us a bit more of a background around that.
Well, so Stream Conversion Gateway is a product that does that bridging for us. And it's a very fundamental part of our proposition actually for the market, because we believe that an AVoIP solution should not be ignoring or blocking other technologies, because there's no single technology to rule them all, right? So instead of that, we're embracing the other technologies, and gateways are a very fundamental strategy, part of our strategy actually. And at Infocom we'll actually be showing a little bit more gateway functionality, which unfortunately I can't talk about right now.
Okay.
But Stream Conversion Gateway is definitely a big part of that bridging functionality we want in our AVoIP system. In the setup that we have here, we actually have a small box camera on top of this monitor, and it's sending out an RTSP and an NDIHX stream. And normally with your AVoIP system, you would not be able to do anything with that because it's a different protocol, right? In the setup that we're showing here, our Stream Conversion Gateway is actually taking that feed, it's running through the switch, which is underneath the table, and then going to our Stream Conversion Gateway, which you can see here is taking the RTSP source, and it's converting that into RTSP to IPMX. And then it's doing the same thing for NDIHX as well. And it's actually doing that in a very nice graphical flow that I can show you here. So essentially, this is what you're looking at. So you configure your input, which in this case is the RTSP source, right? That's coming in like little over 4 megabits. And then we're converting that into IPMX. So where it says RTSP to IPMX, here on the output, it's IPMX. And then the particular cool thing is, and this is also due to NMOS and open standards and all that functionality that we have, here you can see that stream show up on our visual array like it's any other encoder, right? Like any of the other encoders that we have in our system. And it's actually being decoded on this stream. And as you can see, the latency is minimal because we're not doing any transcoding. We're just doing protocol conversion. Yeah. So this way, if you've got NDIHX cameras, you don't need to connect them all to a dedicated encoder.
Yeah. Obviously, any hybrid workflows are the main thing now, and being able to ingest any type of technology that will be that, RTSP in this case is a massive, I wouldn't say game changer, but it's walking through to the nirvana of true interoperability, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else? I mean, of course, you can't speak about, the big event at Infocom that's coming on, but in terms of Plexus as a whole, where do you see, because I know that you've been quite successful in education with some of the installations and stuff. What other installations have you been involved in?
Well, predominantly education. We've done a few corporate projects as well. We're currently about to close a couple of big deals as well in the US, where it's corporate environments essentially. But because it's bigger corporate environments and they worry about how they select AVoIP systems for multiple locations in the US, and one of these clients actually has multiple locations worldwide. So they're concerned about like, okay, how do we standardize on something without being locked to one single vendor? And that's of course is a big promise with IPMX, and that's been really well received.
Yeah.
So predominantly corporate and I would say the education market. But we've also been involved in some live event projects, but I would say that's probably a smaller part right now.
I suppose I think it seems like that ingestion from that corporate market is something like where that value proposition for Plexus currently is that open standard, and also at a price point that's makes it suitable for them. Whereas I think in the the higher end people are, I suppose they're used to the traditional brands and stuff like that. They haven't. I don't know. I do see that they have embraced it at the highest level, but I haven't seen that embracement in for IPMX in that way, because other standards have kind of, I suppose, made a more established network already.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's true. There's two elements to that, right? It's the distribution has been put in place over a number of years. So of course, IPMX or vendors like us, we're behind. We need to work harder.
Yeah.
And also from a technology perspective, right? There's still some challenges, right? Because if you're talking about only the JPEG access side of things, then it's positioned on the higher end of the market.
Yeah.
The good thing is H.264, H.265 is coming for IPMX, and we actually have H.264, H.265 running here as well, because we run a secondary stream out of all our encoders, and our latency currently is around 40 milliseconds just on H.264, H.265. And then if you go and think about iframe only H.264, H.265, I think that's going to be a major boost for IPMX adoption in general, because then camera manufacturers are able to implement IPMX without having to change their codec that they already have in their cameras, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's at the moment that missing piece where other technologies have obviously developed that, and IPMX now, because of that open standard, to get the camera manufacturers, to get the display manufactured, to get the rest of the, so that I see in the future someone can really develop a complete IPMX system, from end to end.
Yes,
that's where we want to get to.
Yeah. And we're focused on like the 1 gig part and below 1 gig. So we're focused mostly on the H.264, H.265 side and the JPEG access and the JPEG access TDC side of things going up to 1 gig.
Yeah.
Because we as Plexus, we fundamentally believe that the way towards really being able to put everything on the network, the convergence thing, right, is not going to happen if we go and do higher bandwidths, because you're only going to create
limiting yourself.
Yeah, you're creating more bottlenecks, you're spending more money. Like, customers will not go that direction, right? So the way towards convergence is making sure the bandwidth gets optimized even more, and you give customers options, right? And flexibility of deciding, okay, this room has to be real time, high bandwidth, minimal latency or no latency. And then when I interconnect these rooms, oh, I'm okay with 40, 50, 60, 70 milliseconds of latency. So if you give people that option, then it becomes very flexible, because the signal can go anywhere.
One question I have there, then, that means that there's a hell of a lot of communication between the different vendors to really identify where their markets are, working together and going, look, I don't want to encroach on your side. This is where I'm sitting. And then, because you've got that interoperability piece, if someone wants a higher bandwidth product, maybe they'll choose a different brand to be able to go there. And is there a lot of that going on where a brand might come in and go, I want to do the same thing as Plexus, but they go, hey, why don't you do this? There's a complete area that hasn't been touched.
Well, I can see like why you're saying that, because from the outside it kind of looks that way. I would say because within IPMX nobody owns it, nobody has the keys. There's no one company that rules it, right? So it's not like, okay, this company goes into this direction, this company goes into that direction. I do think, and for us it's the same thing. You go and build a solution based on IPMX, and of course you look at like what other IPMX manufacturers are doing, right? But on the other side, it also just looks at like what is the fundamental belief you have inside of your company and what is your direction. IPMX doesn't. It's a technology that you use, and manufacturers are able to build their own uniqueness on top of that. While the fundamental part of it, right, so the audio, video, the identification, which is based on NMOS, all needs to work together. So it creates a fundamental basis of interoperability. And then on top of that, customers can still select, okay, oh, I like this solution more than this because it does X, Y, and Z, and I need that. So although the technology is the same, and we're using the same technology stack or same technology framework, you will keep seeing differences between vendors. And I think it's just natural development in the market that manufacturers look at like, okay, where is the where's the opportunity in the market? I'm going to shoot for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But what I'm really saying is that because it's a new market, you can essentially corner a market because, you know, so let's say the first camera manufacturer that comes out with an IPMX solution is going to be in a very, you know, very good position.
absolutely.
You know, so yeah, I think that's essentially it.
Yeah. No.
So where can people go? Just remind them again where people go to find out more information around Plexus.
Well, the best way is just to go to our website. All the information is there, www.plexusav.com. Of course, we'll be at Infocom in Orlando for the lucky ones that are able to go to Orlando, although if you like humidity and high temperatures, right? But yeah, so we're going to be there as well. And otherwise, just the website is the best source for all the information we have.
Brilliant. Steve, thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Come on, y'all remember my name. DJ Woody.